Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 3 of Common Room Conversations. My name is Brendan White.
And my name is Chris White.
And this is going to be a different episode this week as we are now going to be discussing Chris's experience at Comic Con. He has some stuff to talk to us this week about certain panels he saw with speculation on different actors and their background and what they've been doing in recent projects. And to finish off to this week's episode, we will be doing a deep dive with discussing the groundbreaking and internet-breaking thing that happened this week on Tuesday night. Mm-hmm. The second trailer was released for Spider-Man No Way Home, and it looks insane, guys. So we're very excited to talk to you about that. So let's get started.
It's tool time, and now it's time to dive into Home Improvement. This panel is based around the 1991 to 1999 TV series that ran for 8 seasons.
It was a great TV series. I love Tim Allen, and I don't know if Chris have you caught his newer show, Last Man Standing? You ever caught
I have not.
It's a very funny show. I gotta say, it gives me a lot of the vibes from Tim Allen's character from Home Improvement, and it almost feels like a sequel, even though it's not, but it kind of feels like that. It's got like the same vibe, with the kid. He has 3 daughters in it, like in Home Improvement, he had 3 sons, and it's very funny. I'm very curious to hear what you have to tell us about this panel.
Yeah, so this panel had 3 people on it. Originally it was supposed to be 2,
really?
And last minute they added a special guest person to the panel. So it was Richard Karn, who played Al Borland.
Yep.
On 202 episodes of the series.
That's impressive. That's incredible.
His character was originally was supposed to be on 3 episodes, and then was asked to be a regular member of the show.
Which is awesome.
So he went into this being like, okay, 3 episodes, then I'm out, and ended up doing 202 episodes.
Yeah. But
he also plays Patrick Fram in the Air Bud franchise.
Can't say I'm very familiar with.
I only wrote it because Air Bud franchise and not every movie, because there was a lot.
Yeah, there's a ton.
And he's also in the new, I believe it's a Hulu original called Pen 15.
Oh yes, it's a Hulu original by The Lonely Island from
Is it by them?
Yep, Andy Samberg, Jorma Taccone, and Akiva Schaffer.
That's interesting. And then we have Debbie Dunning, who people know her as Heidi Kempert. She's the Tool Time girl.
Yep.
She was in 135 episodes of the series, but she was not originally Heidi Kempert. In, I believe it was either season 1 or season 2, she went and she played a different character. And her different character's name was Kiki Van Versten Wallenscheinlaw for 1 episode. That was all she was supposed to do in this, was 1 episode as that character.
Yep.
And then when they were casting for Heidi, the casting call, what they wanted for the actress, this was their notes: a Debbie Dunning type, but not Debbie Dunning.
Okay. And
they really struggled to find an actress that, fit as that character, and then they finally had asked Debbie to audition, and she landed it and ended up doing 135 episodes. And then the guest panelist is Tootie Roach. Tootie Roach was in 6 episodes of the series, and she played Carrie Patterson. She also played Micah Gray on Star Wars Resistance, and her voice can be heard in the background while you're playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
Interesting. And you and I have had countless hours playing Red Dead Redemption.
We've definitely heard her voice somewhere.
We did. We have.
We definitely have.
We have. That's.
But Tootie Roach was not a guest at Comic Con.
Interesting.
The only reason she is there is because she is married to Richard Karn.
Oh, okay.
So that is his wife. She was known on set as his wife. She was just there, and she was always told that she looks like Jill. She looks like Jill.
Yeah.
Like she could be Jill's sister. So eventually she was asked to be Jill's sister on the show, and she did 6 episodes as it. One little Easter egg is that Al can be seen wearing a wedding ring on his left hand in the series, even though his character is unmarried.
Oh, fascinating, yeah.
So he did keep his wedding ring on while filming.
Continuity error right there. You know how I
Yeah.
hate continuity error. Oh boy.
But yeah, that was one thing I found really interesting about that, is that he literally kept his wedding ring on while filming.
Come on, Al. Come on.
So if you guys haven't seen Home Improvement, why haven't you? It follows the daily trials and tribulations of Tim, the Toolman Taylor, uh, a television show host raising three mischievous boys with help from his loyal co-host, loving wife, and eccentric neighbor. It's such a classic.
It is. I'd always used to watch it when, the old reruns,
Yeah.
whenever it was on. It was just fun to watch.
I believe it was on like late nights on Nick.
Wasn't it? Yeah, it'd be on Nick at Night, and then it'd be,
Yeah.
I can't remember the other channels, but I know it'd be on other channels as well.
Nick at Night was like
Prime time,
Yeah,
George
so good.
Lopez, Home Improvement, Friends, all
Yep.
that.
so good. But that's the first panel, and it was very entertaining. They talked a lot about
Yeah,
how
nice.
they got into acting and everything, and which is what I love about panels.
Yeah, and I bet it adds to the entertainment aspect because like Home Improvement was it was a sitcom, it was a comedy, so just you got these funny people out there and just going back and forth. They work together for years and just go back and forth on each other and make each other laugh and make the audience laugh.
So one thing with Home Improvement was they probably ran through the show about 3 times in a week. They
Which
ran
is
through
crazy,
it
yeah.
once as like a rough run through with a studio audience. Then they ran through it again without a studio audience, and then they did a final with a studio audience. So I think it was 3 times they did it, and if a joke didn't land, they would have it fully rewritten by the next day.
Yep.
And they kept that way. If the audience laughed better in one part, they would just like kind of copy and paste and move the sound clips around. If they would kind of like do a Frankenstein of the clips. Maybe he was smiling better in this scene, but this person was better in this one. They would kind of do some fun little editing, some movie magic.
The magic of sound mixing. Love it.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
From the mind of Kevin Smith comes Clerks. Now, Clerks has 2 movies out already. Clerks, the original, was released in 1994. And then the second one came out in 2006. And there is a third Clerks in the works that is going to come out in 2022. We don't have a release date on it, but it was talked about a little bit at Comic Con. They kind of mentioned it, and I'm excited for it. So if you don't know what Clerks is, the first movie is a day in the lives of 2 convenience clerks named Dante and Randall as they annoy customers, discuss movies, and play hockey on the store roof. And then, in Clerks 2, a calamity at Dante and Randall's shop sends them looking for new horizons. But they ultimately settle at the fast food empire movies.
Okay.
So they kind of transition out of the store and into the fast food industry. And then in the third one, we do have a plot of it. Dante, Elias, and Jay and Silent Bob are enlisted by Randall after a heart attack to make a movie about the convenience store that started it all. So the third one's kind of meta.
Okay.
But, they also have already been meta. Because in 2019, they made a movie called Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
Yep.
Which Jay and Silent Bob inadvertently sign away their names and rights to the new Bluntman and Chronic movie. Now they head to Hollywood to stop the film from being made. Along the way, Jay discovers that he is a father. So it's kind of meta based on their universe that they built, that they kind of, appear as the actual people seeing the television version of themselves.
Yep.
And that one has tons of guest celebrities.
Yeah, I've heard of all the guest celebrities from that movie. I've seen a bunch of like articles I read on it and a bunch of like videos. It was crazy, and it was very funny to see some of these characters because not all of them are like that at the time had comedic backgrounds, like too many at least.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite ones was Tommy Chong. Guest
Yeah.
star. Cause I remember reading about
Tommy
that. It was very funny.
Rosario Dawson, Jason
Really?
Biggs, Ben Affleck, Craig Robinson,
I love Craig Robinson.
Shannon Elizabeth, and Kevin Smith's daughter, Harley Quinn Smith.
Oh, really?
Yes. Which she actually was like a main part of that movie.
Oh, was she?
But speaking of Ben Affleck, he was actually in Clerks 2. And the day that he was filming, it was a small part, it was like a cameo. The day he was filming, they actually brought out a sushi truck because he had mentioned he liked sushi.
Yeah.
So they ordered that for lunch. But by the time the sushi truck had gotten there, he had already wrapped for the day and it was gone.
Oh, no.
So the cast at least got a really nice meal of sushi.
Yeah. Oh, I would love a sushi truck.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds really good right about now.
But the panel was pretty stacked. It had 6 people on it.
Jeez.
The first being Brian O'Halloran, who plays Dante in all 3 projects, as well as in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Jeff Anderson, who plays Randall Graves in all 3 projects. And Jeff Anderson's also plays Smug on the Clone Wars.
Oh, really?
And then we got Marilyn Gigliotti. I definitely screwed that name up. Who plays Veronica in all 3. And she's also on Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Then we got Scott Schiaffo, who is the Chuli's Gum representative.
Oh, delish.
In 1 and 3. So he skipped 2.
No, he did.
And then he was in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Then we got Trevor Fairman, who plays Elias in 2 and 3. That's when his character was introduced. And then Kevin Wiseman, who his character just goes by Hobbit Lover because he's a big, his character is a giant Lord of the Rings fan.
As am I.
And he was only in episode 2. And then I know Kevin Wiseman from Marvel's Runaways, where he played Dale Yorks. He played one of the parents in
gotcha.
33 episodes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he was doing quite a bit in Marvel Runaways. So I mentioned that episode 2, they go to work at Movies, which is a fast food franchise. But that franchise was created by Kevin Smith to use in his film universe.
Yep.
And when we were there, Rhode Island Comic Con actually had the Movies pop-up, which travels around the country and provides food inspired by the movie franchise.
Okay.
And I ended up going there for lunch one day, and it was like $40. I got a cow tipper, which was their burger. It was really good.
Sounds good.
Onion rings, which were like some of the best onion rings I've ever gotten.
Really?
Oh my god, they were so good. And then I got an alcoholic beverage called the Jungle Juice. It was delicious, but the best part was it was served with a Jello shot on top, and it was served in an inflatable flamingo cup holder. So they kind of like put the cup in it and handed it the whole flamingo cup holder to you. And I took a picture and I tweeted it when I was at Comic-Con, and they actually retweeted it, and I was like, awesome. That was great. That made my day. But yeah, it was so delicious. It was gone too quick. I wish it was bigger. But
yeah.
It wasn't horrible. But yeah, it was such an amazing panel. Really, a lot of it was learning about everyone's careers, and everyone has had varying careers, but mostly they're just contained inside of this Kevin Smith universe.
Yeah.
A lot of their projects work with Kevin in different projects. And some people don't even have many projects even outside of the universe at all. I'm so excited to see the new one coming out. I was really excited. Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, which came out 2 years ago, was actually made and worked on by a company called Legion M.
Yeah.
Which I haven't talked about Legion M on the podcast at all.
Yeah,
but it is a fan-owned company that works in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
And very early on, I actually invested in the company.
Yes, you did.
So if you ever watch a movie that has a Legion M collage, look, I am in the collage. You can find my picture. I am there. I actually have like took a screen grab of it and like searched through it all. So I have a picture where I like circled myself, and I'm on there a few times.
Oh, now they're definitely not gonna look for it.
I know, shit.
Now they're never
Shouldn't
gonna
have
watch
mentioned it.
They're never gonna watch it.
But yeah, Legion M is an amazing company who has done some really cool projects. Like they did Mandy with Nicolas Cage. They did Colossal with Jason Sudeikis and Anne Hathaway.
I believe they also did Token.
They did Tolkien,
which I still have yet to see.
Nicholas. I'm not gonna struggle with his name,
I can't remember his last name,
but
but
that
yeah.
was really good, and it had Emily Holt, I believe is her last name, in it as well.
I believe so. I own the movie. I have yet to see it still. I've been putting it
Arch
off.
Enemy with Joe Magalino. I think that's his name. Melagio. I don't know.
Maybe.
Sofia Vergara's husband is what he'll be known as.
Oh yeah, there we go.
And quite a bit of other stuff too. They have a new project that just came out, as well.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I've been enjoying everything they've been doing, and they just wrapped on filming a project called A Man in a White Van, which is based on a true story, and it actually has Sean Astin in it.
Oh.
Sean Astin, as well as
Sky Jackson.
Yes, Sky Jackson is in that as well as a
Interesting.
further amazing cast. But yeah, I'm loving what they're doing, and I can't wait to see Clerks 3, and we might even see them work with Legion M in Clerks 3.
Maybe.
Warriors, come out to play!
The iconic The Warriors. 1979. We had 4 fantastic actors from the film, and it was really cool. I didn't know anything about this movie.
Of course you didn't.
Until going to the panel, and I really want to see the movie. In the near future, a charismatic leader summons the street gangs of New York City in a bid to take it over. When he's killed, the Warriors are falsely blamed, and now must fight their way home while every other gang is hunting them down. So this project was filmed in New York, in actual gang territory, and they got rolled up on quite a bit by the gangs. And one thing that happened was the set designer thought it was a really good idea to cover the gang graffiti. So they got rolled up on by the gang and was like, what the fuck's going on here? And we're like ready to fight.
Really?
Yeah.
That I would
like
I would,
you don't cover another gang's graffiti.
I would be shitting bricks.
But they rolled up on the actors, and they were like trying to find who was in charge, and they were like, not us. Go pick a fight with the director. Not us.
Yeah, no, literally, I would be shitting bricks.
So there were 5 people from the Warriors there the weekend. Only 4 were on the panel because one came in a day later.
Oh, really?
So we had Dorsey Wright, who played Cleon. He was also in GTA 5. He played the paramedic. So we've definitely heard his voice quite a bit.
Oh, cool. Yeah, frequently.
A lot. Then we've got David Harris, who played Cochise. Cochise? I'm really bad with names. Then we got Terry Michos, who played Vermin. And Thomas G. Waits, who played Fox. And he was in GTA 4 as Priest.
Interesting.
So definitely heard him as well at some point.
I don't know. I never really got to finish GTA 4, so I mean, hopefully.
Did you not?
I not really. I know what happens, obviously, because of game spoilers and everything.
Mhm.
The game's been out for so long.
Yep.
But I never got the chance to finish it myself.
Interesting. A lot of this movie takes place in a New York City subway car.
Yep.
And it was actually filmed on a real subway car that they pulled into a inactive station to film on the car. So they pulled it in and they put all the lights, and to make it look like it was moving, they would spin the lights around in a circle so that it would look like the lights were actually, going and moving. So Rockstar Games turned the concept of the Warriors into a video game in 2005.
Yep.
And a portion of the cast did come back to voice their characters, which they actually made them re-audition to see if they still sounded like their character.
I did hear about that, yeah.
Which is so interesting. That's an interesting thing to me. And Dorsey Wright was mentioning that he's done motion capture quite a few times. He's worked on a few games himself, and he said that is the worst shit you will ever do.
Oh yeah, I've heard it from plenty. Trevor from GTA, the actor Stephen Ogg, that's his name.
Yep.
Stephen Ogg. When I was 15, I met him at Walker Stalker Con, which is for The Walking Dead, because he was in The Walking Dead for a little bit there, and he was making jokes here and there, just like flying. He's like, oh, you never hear the jokes about all these balls being stuck to you. It's always the ball and the skin suit jokes. Oh, Lottie fucking Don. And he mentioned it again when we met him at Comic Con once before, and he's really funny about it. And he does say, he's like, oh, fuck that. I hated doing that shit. It's horrible. It's yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah. But I had never known about the Warriors. But I definitely want to watch it. After the panel, I was like,
yeah, definitely gotta catch it on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I will have to. One thing I want to mention is that the iconic catchphrase, the Warriors come out to play, was actually an improvised saying by David Patrick Kelly, who just really didn't like the way it was scripted.
Yep.
The scene just wasn't working. So he ended up coming out with that, and he actually found the bottles underneath the boardwalk, and that's how that came about.
And the next panel Chris is here to elaborate and talk about from his experience at Comic-Con is the Titans panel, which I'm actually very excited to hear Chris's input. I know Chris isn't the biggest DC fan, but honestly, neither am I. But like I said before in the past, Batman is my all-time favorite DC superhero of all time, and a lot of the story revolving around the Teen Titans comes from the leader being Dick Grayson's Robin, and other members of the team such as Batgirl and Batwoman have been a part of it, and Jason Todd, who played the Robin after Dick Grayson, who took on the cape as the Robin after Dick Grayson did, and later took up the anti-hero role as Red Hood. So I'm very interested to hear what Chris had to talk about with the panel. So Chris, what did they really discuss during this panel?
Yeah, so Titans came out in 2018, and it's still going to this day. Season 4 is about to release, so they've got 4 seasons.
Very awesome.
But the premise behind Titans is a team of young superheroes combat evil and other perils. It's very, very straight to the point.
Yep.
No spoilers. There was 3 people that were part of the cast. One was Curran Walters, which he plays Jason Todd, as well as, like you said, Red Hood, in 25 episodes. Then you've got Alan Richardson, who plays Hank Hall. Way too close. Hank and Hawk are way too close in
Sure.
But he plays Hank Hall and Hawk in 18 episodes. Alan Richardson was also in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Jason Bay
the live
action versions.
Adaptation.
He played Raphael.
Oh, interesting.
In the original and Out of the Shadows.
Oh, very interesting.
And then Savannah Welch played Barbara Gordon in 10 episodes.
Gotcha.
And she was also in The Transcendence. So this is actually the first live-action appearance of Jason Todd.
Yep.
And he is the second character to take on Robin.
Yep. Like I mentioned.
Another thing, Alan Richardson and Curran Walters did reprise their roles as Hank Hawk and Hawk, Hank Hall and Hawk. I'm just too many H's, and Jason Todd / Robin in Supergirl.
Oh, really?
Crisis of Infinite Earths. And in that episode, they established that the series takes place on Earth 9.
Interesting.
So I love a good crossover.
Interesting. What I really enjoy about this show too is just from like seeing clips on YouTube and other sources of media is that I don't know did you ever see the original cartoon on Boomerang / Cartoon Network?
Like briefly. I never like watched it. But I would
That's
see like episodes here and there.
that's like what really like caught my attention when this like came out in 2018. I was like, oh, I was just super excited to watch it, and
It's very
I
adult,
it's yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's very dark and very adult, which is very
which I didn't know
which is very
until
cool.
this panel.
Yeah, because actually, one of the first releases, they um has Dick Grayson as Robin. He like beats up all these bad guys. He's like, oh, it's Batman's sidekick, blah blah. He's like, oh, where's Batman now? And then like he ends up beating the shit out of like 8 guys, and after he beats the last one, he just goes, fuck Batman.
Well, one thing that was mentioned that Curran mentioned is that his character, I don't know if it's either Red Hawk or Jason Todd.
No, Red Hood.
Red Hood or Jason Todd, but is like on drugs. Like there's a scene where he's like coming down from the drugs, and he's like vulnerable, and you can like see him as like a person, and then gets right back up. But like
That's interesting because I can't recall if in the any comic book arch he had a drug problem, but I know Jason Todd's original a huge part of his like origin is that a little bit of time after Dick Grayson quits, Jason Todd is caught by Batman trying to steal the wheels off the Batmobile when he has a park somewhere when he's fighting crime, and instead of like reprimanding him and everything, he finds out Jason Todd's an orphan. And ends up taking him in, kind of like he did with Dick Grayson when he was an orphan.
Yep.
And I know that in, I think it was in a Death of the Family story arc in the comic books, is where Jason Todd is captured by Joker because he ends up finding his mom, but the Joker is all set up with the Joker, and the Joker ends up kidnapping Jason Todd and tortures him for months and months and months on end, and he actually is killed by the Joker, and after being captive for months and months, he basically breaks him. And I know that in the Batman Arkham Knight video game, it is revealed at the end. Spoilers. It's been out since 2015, guys, so not really much of a spoiler. That that's like one of the biggest Jason Todd appearances we ever see because through the whole game, Bruce Wayne is living through the harsh memories after being infected with this hallucinogenic gas. He's reliving through all the memories that the Joker would taunt with him with torturing Jason Todd, and then it's revealed that the Arkham Knight is actually Jason Todd. That the Joker did kill him, but he was revived by the Lazarus Pit, which in like the DC is part of the League of Assassins. The Lazarus Pit is what helps Ra's al Ghul live for all these years.
Okay.
It revives. It's a revival pool, but also makes him go like criminally insane. So it's very cool to see a live action adaptation of him. And I hope that when he just keeps recurring and becoming a reoccurring character within the seasons to come until hopefully they have him until the show ends.
Yeah, I definitely really want to see this.
It looks really good, and plus, if you're not a big DC person, this will probably get you more into DC. It's a great show like that.
Yeah. We mentioned Titans a few weeks ago.
Yes.
I don't remember what episode, but we did mention it.
Yep, we did.
I actually got to meet all 3 of them.
Did you?
And they were all like super chill. Just had a conversation, which you don't get a lot. Some people are just like, "Oh yeah, here, goodbye."
Well, especially with like a show like this too. They just give that vibe. I bet just like especially because I think you mentioned or to me prior to the conversation that it was the actor Curran. What's his name?
Curran Walters.
Curran Walters. You said it was his first convention.
Yep,
before.
It was his very first
convention. Of course he's gonna be so psyched. He's like, oh, me, his fans. It's my first convention ever. It's like getting excited. So they're bound to have that kind of energy about them.
So I definitely enjoyed it. I enjoyed learning more about the series, and it's gonna pull me in as a viewer.
Yeah, definitely.
One of my favorite TV shows growing up. What got me into Star Wars, The Clone Wars.
Great show. Absolutely phenomenal show.
2008 to 2020, we finally got an ending to the series recently on Disney Plus.
Yep, because around the time where they were going to end their final season, air quotes, that's when they were picked up by Disney. So then they couldn't really do a product on Cartoon Network anymore with it to really finish it off.
Yeah, so we got an actual ending, season 7, on Disney Plus. But the panel had 2 people. The first being Ashley Eckstein, who is one of my favorite Star Wars actors.
Oh, you like Ashley
ever.
Eckstein?
Oh,
I didn't know
yeah.
that.
She's so passionate about what she does. And it's so great to see someone that is so passionate about a character. She mentioned that Ahsoka, when she was playing Ahsoka at first, Ahsoka was learning from her. But now that she's been playing Ahsoka for so long and her character's developed, she, as a person, is constantly learning from her character.
Yeah.
Which was such a interesting thing to hear. And they have such deep connections, she has with her character, which you don't see a lot. You really, a lot of people are just like, oh, it's money. This is a job.
Yeah.
She owns a company called Her Universe, which actually produces pop culture clothing. So she's a huge fan of pop culture and movies, and they do tons of Star Wars stuff. So she's actually a fan, and that's what kind of brings her into this universe a lot more.
Interesting.
But she was also in Ultimate Spider-Man, and she played Dagger and Shriek.
Oh.
In that, and then the second person on the panel, which wasn't supposed to be in a panel this year, but someone canceled, so they threw this together kind of last minute.
Yep.
Is Matt Lanter, who played Anakin Skywalker in 95 episodes of the series. He also was in The Mandalorian. He played a New Republic soldier. And he was in Lego Marvel's Avengers, which we have played a lot of.
Yeah, I think I actually know he played Claw, didn't he?
Yes,
Yeah.
Ulysses Claw. He played in Lego's Marvel Avengers. So if you haven't seen the Clone Wars, please
Big mistake. Go watch
go
it.
binge watch it on
watch
Disney
it.
Plus.
So worth it.
The short summary of it is that Jedi Knights lead the Grand Army of the Republic against the Droid Army of the Separatists. It was kind of made to fill a space between movies, which it did a fantastic job at. Some of my notes here is the character of Ahsoka Tano is based on the mannerisms of Carrie Fisher. So when Carrie Fisher was doing Princess Leia in the original Star Wars trilogy, they kind of took some of this character and some of this person, but they took her mannerisms. Then they combined it with Anakin's brassness, and they added in some of Obi-Wan's measured judgment. And that's kind of how they came up with Ahsoka Tano's character.
Interesting.
And she's very confident in what she does. She starts off as a Padawan where she doesn't know really too much about this, and then she becomes her own self. She's a little snippy, but she's not.
Yeah, that's why Anakin gives her snips.
Yeah, she's not blatantly rude or anything. She's just got a little feist.
Yeah, it's just teenage angst.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
Yep. And Matt Lanter actually wasn't the original Anakin Skywalker. He was brought in after the fact. I believe they had fully recorded 3 episodes before he was even brought in.
Really?
Yeah, when he was auditioning, he was told that the part he was doing was for a character called Deck Starkiller. And when Matt Lanter actually came in to audition for the role, Dave Filoni actually suggested that he play this character like a combination of Han Solo and Luke Skywalker.
Oh, interesting.
They couldn't tell him, oh, play this like Anakin Skywalker.
Hey, just be Anakin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, actually, interesting thing is Anakin's voice is his real voice. As the series goes on, as he gets wiser and older,
Yep.
he does deepen his voice a little bit.
Ahsoka.
Yeah, but it is generally his real voice with just a little bit deeper.
What I love about Matt Lanter is that he did a phenomenal job playing Anakin Skywalker throughout the entire series,
Yeah.
especially to really captivate and capture the essence of Darth Vader before he really started to turn to the dark side.
Mhm.
I remember I can't recall which episode, but I believe it came from season 3 or 4, when they're on that planet and they're dealing with the slavers, and Obi-Wan's trying to negotiate with them over the comms, and then he uses the Force, grabs it, smashes it, like literally breaks it with his hand, and he goes, oh, it's slaver scum, and he gets really angry, and like you can see like the hatred and wanting to kill in his eyes. It was incredible.
Yeah, I actually got to meet both of them.
Did you? Oh, I bet you had a fangirl moment with meeting Ashley X.
Couldn't talk. No,
I bet you couldn't. I bet you. I don't really talk.
It's very. I never talk really when I meet people.
You nod and shake your head and smile.
Yeah, I do. Yep, smile and wave, boys.
Cute and
Smile
cuddly,
and
boys.
wave, yep.
Cute and cuddly.
But yeah, you could really just see her passion. On day 2 of the convention, she actually dyed her hair. So her hair was actually dyed like Ahsoka's head.
Oh, that's weird.
So it was like, because she's blonde normally.
Yep.
And she added the blue stripes in her hair.
Interesting.
It was cool.
Very interesting.
But I met her on the first day and she didn't have it. So she definitely did it either at the Friday night or Saturday morning. One thing I want to talk about before we get into The Mandalorian, another tie-in to The Mandalorian is that Ahsoka Tano was not played by Ashley Eckstein.
And I know how heartbroken you were.
So heartbroken.
But in all fairness, not to talk about it too much, I did enjoy Rosario Dawson's portrayal.
I did not.
I know you didn't because you're a little crybaby.
Ahsoka is, like I mentioned, Ashley's baby. She's really spent the time and the effort to create this character, and she's played this character in countless projects.
Yeah.
Countless things. So to see someone else get it was depressing. Especially since Ashley Eckstein does look like Ahsoka Tano.
It's gonna be okay. It's just something we're gonna have to live with it.
I cannot wait for season 3
I need it. I need season 3 of this to come out now.
The Mandalorian.
The fucking Lorian, man. DeLorean.
2019 to now, going on to episode 3. We've currently had 2 released, and the third one is slated. I don't think we have a release date for it yet, though, even.
What do you mean for episode 1 and 2 of season 3?
Yeah.
We do have an official release date for it?
No, we don't.
Oh, we don't?
We don't. I need it, though.
Soon. I need it bad. I need them to release the entire season at once.
Oh, yes. That'd be so good. But we had quite a list of Mandalorian actors. We had 5 that were originally on the panel. And then we got a special edition. We got a special guest. So we had Carl Weathers, who plays Grief Kargan in 14 episodes of The Mandalorian.
Which is almost the entire series.
Yes.
So far.
But he was also in Toy Story 4.
Yes, he was.
And he was on Arrested Development. He did 4 episodes of Arrested Development.
Now that you say that, now I actually remember Carl Weathers.
Then we had Giancarlo Esposito, who played Moff Gideon in 7 episodes. He also plays Anton Castillo in the new Far Cry 6, which is exactly like him. It's like they
motion capture.
Yeah, motion capture, just carbon copy of him in the game. He was also in 26 episodes of Breaking Bad.
I think you're missing something there, Chrissy.
What am I missing?
I'm almost positive that he was in a few episodes of Community. Played Pierce's brother.
I am not sure about that one.
I believe so. I'm gonna, while you're introducing, I'm gonna.
We'll and then we've got, look it up real quick. We've got Chris Bartlett, who, another great person to meet. I met him. And Emily Swallows, during the time there, and they were both great.
Can confirm Gilbert Lawson. Sorry to cut you off. In Community, did play. He did. He played Gilbert Lawson, Pierce's half brother.
I gotcha. But Chris Bartlett plays a character known as Zero, or his droid name is Q9-0. He also does a bunch of different assorted droids in the series. He's in 6 episodes. He was also in The Orville, which is an amazing TV series. I don't know if you've seen it, but it is by Seth MacFarlane, and it is like a comedy version of Star Trek and Star Wars put together.
I don't believe they're
So
continued.
good.
I believe it got canceled.
Yeah, it did, which I'm very sad about. It was so good, and I really enjoyed it. I watched it like right when it came out. So good, and I was really sad when it got canceled. But Chris Bartlett also does the body for C-3PO
Oh, interesting.
in several different projects, even live performances. He's C-3PO.
Oh, interesting.
Like one thing he mentioned was, a little while back there was I think it was D23, and he was in the C-3PO suit, and he got introduced by George Lucas and Anthony Daniels,
Oh, really?
and he had to come and stand next to those two, and he was just like he
Oh.
felt inferior. He felt like he didn't
inferior.
belong there.
Interesting.
Yeah, he mentioned that he was like standing off to the side, and George Lucas was like, "Come on, what are you over there? Come closer." And then we got Omid Abtahi. I'm really bad with names. You guys know this. Probably screwed that up. But he played Dr. Pershing in 4 episodes. He also you will probably like this one. I try and pull things that you will like too.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
He played Farid and Mujahideen Soldier in Call of Duty's Black Ops 2.
Interesting.
He was also in Call of Duty Black Ops 3, I believe, but I don't have enough room to put his whole... I could go over his whole actor credits, but... Then we got Emily Swallow, who played the Armorer in 3 episodes. She also was on Supernatural. She played Amara in 12 episodes. And then she was in The Last of Us, Part 2. She played Emily.
Interesting.
And then our special guest that we didn't have before was Lauren Mary Kim, who was the stunt person for Emily Swallows.
Oh,
so she was the Armorer's stunt person. I think she was like the stunt person for a bunch of other people too. But she was in 7 episodes. She also is the motion capture person for Ahsoka Tano in the Clone Wars.
Oh, interesting.
And in the upcoming Miss Marvel, she is the stunt person for Miss Marvel.
Ooh.
And one thing I'm going to quickly talk about The Mandalorian is the summary of it. Another short and sweet. The travels of a lone bounty hunter in the outer reaches of the galaxy, far from the authority of the New Republic. If you haven't seen The Mandalorian by now,
you need to see The Mandalorian.
I feel like we've said this about everything
so
we talked
much
about today, but
even not even just today. In episodes prior and episodes coming,
Yep.
we are going to be talking about The Mandalorian crazy. No matter what we have to talk about with Star Wars, it's just my expectations for it. It blew my expectations out of the water. This show is just phenomenal all around with the effects, the casting, the act. It's just on all of it is unbelievable. It's one of the best Star Wars stories.
It's definitely gonna be the show to compare all other Star Wars shows,
especially for a Star Wars show that doesn't heavily feature lightsabers as much.
Yeah,
like I believe probably like what do we have 16 episodes was it we had of the show, so. And we had 3 that featured a lightsaber or a dark saber.
Something like that.
And
we're gonna get the same
like
thing.
that is just incredible.
It's gonna be the same with the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, we're gonna probably have no lightsabers in the Book of Boba Fett, which is...
I'm really actually enjoying the no lightsaber aspect to it because we get more story rather than just lightsaber fights.
I only enjoy it because of how well it's been put together.
Yeah.
Because me personally, I love the Revenge of the Sith Star Wars movie because of, and I like a lot of the prequels. I don't like them as much as the originals, but I like them for the lightsaber aspect. We get to see more especially the Revenge of the Sith. We see, the epic lightsaber battle between Yoda and Palpatine, and we have Anakin versus Obi-Wan, which forever will be, in my opinion, the greatest lightsaber battle of all time.
Yeah. The Mandalorian has been such a testament to how they're keeping stuff hidden in shows. So we had no clue that Baby Yoda or Grogu was a thing until the series released.
Yeah, which was nuts. Like
So
that was impressive of them to
it,
keep that such a big secret
yeah,
for
so
that long.
that kind of shows that we really don't know anything. Like we could think we know everything about the new Book of Boba Fett, but when
Oh,
it comes
we have
out,
no
they might
clue.
just throw a character in there that we had no
Exactly.
clue that changes the course of all of our thoughts.
Yeah, we have no clue. Like what could ever happen with these shows?
Yeah.
It's just such a toss up. We see it, you're like, oh wow, this is gonna happen. Wait, fuck, no, it's not. And just it's just incredible the way they create this show.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited for season 3, especially with some of the returning directors for previous episodes prior. We've had plenty of people who have been directing and have directed previous episodes in season 1 and 2. And I did hear, like, maybe we'll talk about it in a future episode about their return to film episodes. I believe that they're starting to release the directors for each of these episodes. I believe they released 4 maybe so far. Maybe we can talk about it next week, but it'd be great to even talk about that and mention that, because as long as we have, my favorite directors come back, like, Dave Filoni, and if we have a John Favreau, I want them to really take control and take the helm, really, and direct a decent amount of these episodes, just because then it's going to give it that Star Wars feeling that is Star Wars, but it's not, because it's going to be its own separate story, its own entity practically, and it just makes it. That's what makes it just a great piece of culture all around.
So one issue I find when panels are large is that when people ask questions, you really don't get too many questions in because
Yeah.
everyone has to answer.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we didn't get too much content from this that I was expecting. But one thing I wanted to mention was it was brought up and it's called the volume. I believe that's how you say it. The volume, something like that. And I had no recollection of anything like this. But it is basically a soundstage that is 360 degrees style of screens. Okay? So usually when you're filming a movie, you're have a green screen and you're fully acting like something's happening, but it's all done in post.
Okay.
What can be done with this new system is that what is happening around you is actually what you're going to see in the series. They actually put what is going to be in that series so that you can really get a grasp of what you're looking at and actually correctly looking at.
That's really cool.
And it was described as just breathtaking.
Yeah, I
Because
can
it's
imagine.
and it's so real that you're in.
Yeah.
So it was. I'd never known about this until they mentioned it, and I was like, that sounds so cool.
Well, I hope I'm going to be able to accompany you on to Comic Con next year, so
Yes.
I can also
I
add more of my voice to these topics of conversation.
Yeah, I had a couple of ideas for next year.
On that note, let's get to the final part of the episode, which I'm very excited about. I bet you are as well. Is the discussion of the second trailer for Spider-Man: No Way Home.
December 17th,
The Day of Reckoning.
we get Spider-Man No Way Home.
Da, da, da. I am unbelievably fucking excited for this movie, Chris.
Yeah.
You have no idea. Especially because we have had these Disney Plus shows
Yep.
that, spoilers guys, sorry, but WandaVision and Loki basically have been leading up to this moment. This exact moment is what's going to culminate into this movie.
Yep.
And
And the future
and the future of the Marvel Cinematic
Yep.
Universe, to be quite frank, because it's all about the multiverse. It's collapsing.
Yep.
Portals being opened up, and we can clearly see that within this trailer. And there is so much to discuss throughout this trailer. So, Chris, how would you like to start it off today?
So I think we should start just by talking about some of the scenes from the movie. So one that I had seen was the subway tunnel. It is where Tom Holland and Zendaya are in the subway tunnel, and almost get hit by its train.
Okay.
It's like very early on in the trailer, but it was very interesting to see. It was a cool scene.
Well, as I say, what I really think is going on in that scene is that it's Peter and MJ trying to get away from the press, because that's because it's gonna literally take place probably right after the end credit scene from Far From Home, when J.K. Simmons, who was reprising his role as J. Jonah Jameson, which I'm thrilled about.
Yeah, it takes place directly after the events of Spider-Man: Far Way Home, or
Far From Home, and so it's gonna be them getting with the press, and they're gonna try and hunt him down. They got all the helicopters when they're on the top of the bridge, and they're trying to get the news story. Peter Parker, Spider-Man, he killed Mysterio, all this fake bullshit. Not only that is that we get to see not only Spider-Man having to deal with these problems. Now he has recruited MJ and he's recruited Ned, and he's also going to be working with Doctor Strange heavily in this movie. But
he's on the FaceTime with MJ for the conversation's a little bit in the trailer.
The conversation,
where he's just like being true and honest about like his feelings.
Yeah, and I know he mentions that ever since he's been bitten by the radioactive spider, that he has never had a time where he's felt normal.
Yep,
had a normal teenage life until he told her, and they had that that little grace period of those couple days from coming home from their trip from Far From Home, and then everything being spoiled and everyone finding out that he's Spider-Man.
Yeah. One quote that I pulled, which we know that Tom Holland Spider-Man has always been, in the previous projects we've seen with him, never wants to really hurt anyone. There was one part of a movie where it was like setting suit to kill, and he was like, no, don't kill. So he's never really wanted to hurt anyone. But Doctor Strange says this in the trailer: they all die fighting Spider-Man. It's their fate.
Yeah. So what I believe a premise around that will be, because I know we saw from the first trailer where we do see Doctor Strange, even in the first trailer, and it happened again in the second trailer, where he hits Peter out of his form, and he makes him astral project, kind of like happened with Doctor Strange in his movie, and what happened to when the Ancient One did that to the Hulk.
Yeah.
And so what the premise around that, the square box, like the square box, the cube, like the box, I believe that's going to be like a tool, a key to send all of those villains back to their dimension, back to their universe. And it's Doctor Strange saying, yes, they all have died fighting Spider-Man. It's just their fate. It's just what happens in their universe. So I feel as Tom Holland doesn't want that to happen. He does not want anyone to die. So he takes the box from Strange, and he tries to keep it from him until he can, get them into the custody or find a way where no one has to die.
Yep.
So, and that's very interesting, because we see a lot of the trailer he's working with Doctor Strange, but then you see that part of the trailer he's against Doctor Strange, and then you see him again in the trailer later on that he is with Doctor Strange again, which is very interesting. Who will actually be his friend or foe in this? Which leads to the topic of conversation is, will Dr. Otto Octavius be friend or foe?
Yeah, because he was seeming like they were having a pretty friendly conversation when he was locked in the jail cell.
Well, he was. I don't even think he was even in a cell.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it was a cell.
Like a glass cell.
No. So what I believe it was that because they have that duke out session on the bridge, and then he pins him up against the wall, and he takes off his suit, like with the he has the Tony Stark suit, the metal one, and he does a nanotech, and he reveals his face, like, you're not Peter Parker, which I believe he'll be the first major encounter. I believe. Because, and then maybe that would be like, wow, okay, this is crazy, like there's actual multiverse happening, everything happened, all these villains that got sucked in. But what you're thinking of, I believe he wasn't in a prison, because
he looked like he was in a glass.
It looked like it was because they were underground. It looked like there was a subway. It was a broken down subway cart. If you rewatch the trailer, I believe it was a subway cart, because where did they get a glass prison?
It didn't look. I don't think it looked like a subway car.
I believe it was a subway car, and they do have a friendly conversation, and they know how dangerous he is. They saw what he did, and they know he has the control of the forearm his tentacles. I don't think they would provoke him as they did. Like they laughed when they told him his name, like when he told them their name. So I don't think they would have done that if it wasn't more of a friendly.
Yeah.
conversation, because if you know what I mean. So, but it'd be interesting to see Doctor Otto Octavius ally with him. But here's the thing, because it kind of is the premise of like all these villains attacking them. It's a Sinister Six has had so many different Spider-Man villains be a part of this group. Now the thing is, though, there's only 5 villains we see, though, because we have the Lizard, has now been confirmed. We actually see the Lizard, and we have Jamie Foxx's Electro, we have Sandman, and we have Otto Octavius, and we have the Green Goblin. Now, does this raise question about whether or not
who is missing?
That's a thing, because we do have confirmed that Vulture. We talked about it in last week's episode, Morbius, how he was in it, so maybe he could play a part in it, and maybe be revealed as the 6th member, or we could have a big huge twist that Mysterio never really died, and because how he died and then the video was released, and I don't remember if you recall at the end of Far From Home, you do see the dude with the guy with the glasses and the bald head, who was like his right hand man, who did all the who controlled the drones. He was down after he dies, quote unquote, air quotes, because we don't know what's gonna happen. He started downloading this something onto a flash drive, and then it finishes. He unplugs it, and then he walks out. He gets out of his van and he walks away. So what I'm thinking is, because that video came out afterwards, there's no way that it took it would be just that video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like it's something bigger. That could have been part of it. They edited some stuff together, released that video, and a lot of what can happen is maybe we're seeing some more Mysterio mind fuckery. Like only that he uses them to conceal his identity until he really wants to confront Spider-Man and see, because in this it does look like, as Tom Holland has said in interviews, this movie is going to be a brutal movie, and we see that right from the beginning of the trailer. We see we see him with his mask off, and his face is covered in blood and scars and in tears. This is going to be a very, very brutal movie for the Web Slinger. So, and I believe that maybe if Mysterio is maybe the missing baddie, that he won't reveal himself until he absolutely has confidence in him being able to kill Peter Parker.
Interesting. So we mentioned Dr. Octopus.
Otto Octavius.
Yes. And this is actually the actor that played the character in Spider-Man 2.
Which is incredible. That's unbelievable to see in these movies, especially because, we have this movie coming out and at the end of this year, 2021.
Yes.
20 years of Spider-Man movies from 2001 to now. We have reoccurring characters appearing. We have characters reviving their roles.
Yeah. 17 years later, Alfred Molina came back. That's crazy.
Was it 2002 the movie came out? I thought it was 2004.
2004. 17 years.
Okay, yeah. So 17 years. Yes. And then we also have J. Jonah Jameson, played by J.K. Simmons. Phenomenal actor, and I love J.K. Simmons. I'm so happy to see him back. And that's another thing, too. We'll get to more of the characters reprising their roles. But we do see, J. Jonah Jameson a decent amount probably doing field work for the Daily Bugle. Because there is a scene, do you remember the part in the trailer where it was the electrifying of Electro, and then you see J. Jonah Jameson kind of backing away from it.
Is he the bald one with
the glasses?
Yes,
with the mustache and glasses, yes.
Yes.
So you do see him in the trailer, so maybe he decided that, how such a big event like this with, Spider-Man's identity being revealed and all these villains appearing, that he wants to go out in the field and report this himself. So that's incredible to see. But, like you said, we do have the returning character reprising his role as Doc Ock, and we have the reprising role of J. Jonah Jameson. We also have the reprising role of Jamie Foxx as Electro, who he played in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in 2014. And we also have, I cannot think of the actor's name, but he is returning as Sandman from from Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire. And I do not believe if it's the same actor for Lizard, only because I'm not sure if maybe in this movie we won't see him in his human form. That maybe in maybe in his uniform, his universe, he took the drug to completely permanently be the Lizard. We are also seeing Willem Dafoe return as the Green Goblin. The first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire that released. It was a massive hit, and he was a great villain. But what's interesting about that, Chris, I don't know if you noticed this, is that in the trailer we not only see one Green Goblin, but we see a second Green Goblin riding on another board, a different board of design. We see him. This character looks as though I actually paused that part of the clip. As though he wears goggles and a little mask, and he has longer hair, similar to almost how James Franco's Harry Osborn played he basically took up a different version of his father's board in the third Spider-Man movie.
Interesting. So this movie actually is the end of Tom Holland's contract with Sony Pictures and Marvel. But he has said and stated that he's willing to extend it because he just loves being Spider-Man.
He loves being Spider-Man. He has said he will play Spider-Man until he can no longer walk anymore. Yeah. And what I do believe that without a doubt he will renew this contract.
Oh yeah,
mainly because
this movie was almost canceled.
Yeah, but then he
is the reason that it continued
the contract and everything. But especially because and we're going to talk about this in the next episode. How Marvel's slowly trying to develop a concept for the Young Avengers.
Yep.
Peter Parker is a Young Avenger. He's young. He's a teenager.
Yep.
And he's had his credits with actual fighting alongside the Avengers, such as Captain America and Iron Man and all of them.
Which he's never been a part of the Avengers.
He's always just done his own thing
with them.
He's the first. With them. He's the first ever superhero at that age that was never a sidekick. He was the first superhero in comic book history to not be a sidekick as a 15-year-old child.
So bringing up the Young Avengers again, one of the things I saw was that when the contract was reworked between Disney and Sony, because they had that big clash where they were just not working anymore, Tom Holland is the one that made that happen.
Yep.
But in that contract, it states that Spider-Man can be used in Sony and all of Sony's projects that they're working on, like crossover movies.
Yep.
So they can use that, but he can also be used in anything for the MCU. So maybe that is kind of the way that Marvel wanted to go, is bring him into the Young Avengers, and that's kind of why things went rocky.
Yeah, maybe
possibly. Because we really don't know why things went rocky to begin with. It wasn't really.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel and Sony have always had their their complications with it because
money was why it was blasted. I think.
Well, that's why because Sony is never going to want to let Spider-Man go there. They're one of their biggest money grabbers, especially for audiences of all ages. Going back to the villains, though, we're going to talk a lot about the villains too, a little bit more. I know you haven't seen it. And this is going to be a spoiler for you, probably. I can't recall if I ever talked to you about it. But, and sorry guys, this is a spoiler for you guys too. The movie has been out since the beginning of October. If you haven't seen it, you got to go see it. But there is an end credit scene for Venom, Let There Be Carnage. At the end of the movie, we see Venom and Eddie are talking in a hotel room. And all of a sudden, they're talking, and Eddie's asking questions about all of Venom's past experiences, where he's been, and all through the universe. It stretches out over years and years and years. So when Eddie thinks he's about to show him something of importance, there's a big flash, and all of a sudden their hotel room is completely different, and Venom freaks out, goes, "What the hell was that?" And he's like, "What'd you do?" He goes, "I didn't do this." And then a news article pops up on the screen of J. Jonah Jameson telling the world that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So there was a big flash.
I wonder if he's the sixth.
That could be a thing. Or if he's not the sixth, he could be another ally.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to speculate because in the past, Venom has been an anti-hero. He's an anti-hero, and he's sometimes helped Peter Parker, and he's sometimes been super against Peter Parker. And so it's going to be very interesting to see maybe if we don't get the Sinister Six, why they chose to go that route, or if we do get the Sinister Six, who the sixth villain will be, which it'll be very interesting to see, because it would kind of go with the flow of the original returning villains, because we have from Spider-Man 1 we have Willem Dafoe, way back with Tobey Maguire, and Spider-Man 2 we had Doc Ock, and Spider-Man 3 we had Venom and we had Sandman. So and we had the Harry Osborn Green Goblin. So to bring back Sandman, because they already brought back Sandman confirmed, to bring back Venom to actually be the sixth villain would fit its criteria. Because then they also brought back Andrew Garfield's Lizard and Electro, and they also had a Green Goblin in Harry Osborn's Green Goblin in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Now, go ahead.
So I have a couple little Easter eggs to kind of talk about. So one of them is when Peter Parker is suiting up on top of the car, there's a taxi cab right behind him. And the taxi's numbers on the top read 1228.
Oh, Stanley.
Which is Stanley's birthday, December 28, 1922.
Rest in peace to you, great man.
So that is one little Easter egg in the movie. Then we have the address of the Santorum Syndrome in Doctor Strange.
Yes, we do, yeah.
Is 177A Bleecker Street. And in Spider-Man 2, the pizza place where Peter, which was portrayed by Tobey Maguire, is fired from is located at 233 Bleecker Street, which is about less than a block away.
Which will be very interesting too, because you got to do remember, there are different universes where different things can happen, but generally a lot of the settings stay the same. So that is going to be very interesting, maybe. And I think our last topic conversation will lead into this.
Okay. There's
been so much speculation ever since details, like the first ever details came out about the Spider-Man 3 movie, and because it was mentioned in Spider-Man Far From Home, there was a mini Easter egg, not really an Easter egg, but a mention when Quentin Beck is lying to Peter Parker, and Peter brings up the idea of a multiverse, which heavy foreshadow for what is now to come, because we had everything happening with WandaVision and Wanda finally becoming the Scarlet Witch, realizing her abilities, and you see her doing things that are unmatched, because we see her at the end of the show, the complete end for the end credit scene. We see her just in a cabin in the country enjoying her tea, but then all of a sudden she's completely functioning as a person, but then she's astral projecting outside of her body, casting spells and reading her grimoire, and she hears her kids that she made up in that fake world that she created. So that's already her breaking the fathoms of law of physics, laws of physics and the dimensional boundaries.
Yep.
And then we also see in Loki how the Timekeeper kept everything on course so it wouldn't create Nexus events.
Mm-hmm.
So and what I do see is that a lot of people were led to believe in the first trailer that, oh, wow, okay, we have Doctor Strange was actually the cause of it. But no. That spell what I think is going to happen is that they might believe they were the cause of it, but I believe the spell was interrupted because after the spell, everyone still remembers who Spider-Man is. MJ and Ned, they know who he is.
Yep.
What I believe is that due to the fact of the multiverse collapsing in all those ways, the spell was interrupted and it couldn't be completed.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, Doctor Strange mentions all these holes opened up, all these portals. I don't think it's a coincidence that from 3 different Spider-Man series, we have a variety of both Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's villains coming through.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think that we're going to get a 3-way team up of Spider-Man?
I mean, possibly. Like I said, you never rule anything out.
But
the most random shit could happen.
Yes, but we do know one thing that Marvel loves to do. They love to hide shit from us in trailers. Yep. And one thing I did show you before the episode,
mm-hmm.
there is a scene where you have Electro, Lizard, and Sandman charging at Peter Parker, Tom Holland.
Yep.
But you see, as they're charging, Tom Holland is going for Sandman. You see Electro charging up, not aiming down at Peter Parker to hit him with a lightning bolt, but aiming straight ahead of him. And then also, as the trailer keeps going, you see Lizard's head as if he was kicked in the face, but nobody's there. Easily Marvel could have hid that from us. These two actors, great actors, play great roles as Spider-Man. I believe that they came through those portals as well, and they need to help Tom Holland get them back. And I fear as though they'll help him even more against Doctor Strange because they never wanted to see anybody die. It was never their motive to see anybody die.
Mm-hmm.
Things just happen that way.
Yep.
So maybe they want to right their wrongs as well and help Peter resolve those issues in a way where nobody has to get hurt like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I really hope it goes in that direction, as I know a lot of other fans do as well. And I know there's another thing to mention too with all the closing of the multiverse and Doctor Strange is, we see Peter Parker in not only his red and black suit from the end of Far From Home, we also see him in his Tony Stark nanotech suit, but then we also see a new suit, an all black suit with the gold and silver web lining on the suit, and you see it acting as with mythic energy that we do see. So what I'm very intrigued by with that is that in the end, will Doctor Strange and Peter Parker really have to help each other hand in hand in closing these dimensional rifts to help control the Nexus events. And he gives him, I believe that he's going to get the suit from Doctor Strange with all these mythical abilities that are going to help him further in this battle. And I just am unbelievably excited for this movie, Chris, and I know we have talked about it, but I'd like to confirm that you and I will both be pre-ordering these tickets to see this movie.
Yes.
In theaters, and we will be seeing it at a midnight release. And I promise you I'll see it 3 other times after that. Because I'm just... This is the last Marvel project we're gonna be getting.
Of 2021.
Of 2021 is the last one. And you and I, we still have yet to see Eternals. Mm-hmm. We really got to see that. So hell, maybe when we have a free day on vacation, maybe we'll go see it. All right, and that concludes today's episode of Common Room Conversations. We thank you guys so much for tuning in with us every week, and we really appreciate it. We've gotten a decent amount of followers, way more than we have ever hoped and anticipated. Yep. With just this is gonna be the 3rd episode releasing. And in just 2 episodes, we've gotten a great amount of views, and we've had a lot of buzz about it, and we appreciate it, and thank you guys so much for all the support. Yeah. And if you'd like to keep supporting us, you can always follow us at CR Convos on Twitter. CR Convo at Twitter. And you can follow my main account at Brendan White 3.
And you can find me at Chris White with 2 T's.
And this week, we are actually, the day after this episode airs, we are leaving for vacation for 9 days for Florida, but that does not mean that you will go next Friday without an episode. No. Next Friday, we will be actually recording after this episode. We will be recording our episode for the following week, and Chris is going to tell you more about that because he is actually very excited to start recording this episode.
Yeah, while we're at Disney, we are going to be talking about all of the new and upcoming Disney Plus projects.
Yeah, seems very fitting that we do that. Yeah,
that was the idea. But I do want to kind of just say thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you guys for interacting with us through our poll every week. When you watch this episode, you can actually answer a poll if you're on Spotify, telling us what you're most looking forward to.
I know this week I'm going to check with Chris and see if we can actually do it this way. Because we didn't have too many movie trailers for you. We only really broke down Spider-Man.
Yep.
No Way Home. So I'm gonna see if we can maybe do a poll, maybe like how psyched are you for Spider-Man No Way Home after seeing the second trailer.
We can also do Q&A questions too.
Super excited
where we ask
or
a question and
fucking
they
excited. Yeah, we could do that way. If you have any questions, if you have any comments about Spider-Man No Way Home, what your guys' thoughts of it, maybe a little bit predictions. We can bounce ideas off each other, and if you want to message us at all on our Twitters, like we said, you can follow me at Brendan White at Brendan White 3,
and myself at Chris White with 2 T's.
And we are always down to chat with you guys and talk to you about any ideas you have about anything coming out.
We'll even be sharing a bunch of stuff from vacation as well.
Yeah, we'll be tweeting.
I did want to mention last week's poll. The winner. The most excited project from last week. Are you ready for this?
Yeah,
Brace yourself.
Can I guess? Can I guess it? Can I guess it? I'll do a little drum roll and then I'll guess.
Okay.
Was it Sing 2?
It sure was.
Of course it was Sing 2.
Sing 2 was the most anticipated project that we talked about last week.
Well, you know what? I'm not gonna say anything
It
else.
had half of the votes.
You know, I'm not gonna say my opinion on that. All I'm gonna say is we'll base it off facts. We'll see what the box office has to say about it. All right?
Yeah, we definitely will. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us this week. We'll see you guys next week.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.